As a small boy, I used to take things apart. I wanted to find out how they work. That is still what I want, but I've moved on to bigger things, like the universe. The thrill of discovering something no one knew before is like nothing else I know. I want to share my excitement with everyone. My main challenge has been Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS. I have had it since I was 21, but it has not prevented me from exploring the universe with my mind, or having 3 wonderful children. I feel a sense of achievement that I have managed to make these contributions, despite having ALS. I have not allowed my disability to stop me doing most things. My motto is there are no boundaries. Thank you. All my life, I have sought to understand the universe and find answers to these questions. I have been very lucky that my disability has not been a serious handicap. Indeed, it has probably given me more time than most people to pursue the quest for knowledge. The decline in my health was a stark reminder that time was against me. Yet despite the pressures on my family, I was determined to realize a lifelong ambition by writing a popular book about how the universe had begun. I wanted the book to be read by millions of people around the world, like a best-selling airport novel.
I did not think it would work. I did not think it would work because basically, if you look at all the other books in airports, there are none like that. You know?
However, I felt sure that the mass market would want to know about how the universe began. By 1984, I had completed the first chapter. I signed up with Peter and set to work completing the first draft of my book. I tried to simplify the physics as best I could, and by the end I was pleased and felt it was in pretty good shape. But Peter wasn't convinced.
I was pretty disappointed. Yeah, I thought this is going to be really difficult.
Lightning did indeed strike, but not in the way that Peter and I were hoping. That summer I had taken a break from rewriting to travel to Switzerland on holiday. But while I was there, I caught a chest infection that developed into pneumonia and quickly became very serious. I was put into a drug-induced coma and onto a life support machine. The doctors thought I was so far gone, they offered to Jane to turn off the machine. But she refused. Finally, Jane insisted that I was flown back to Cambridge. The weeks of intensive care were the darkest of my life. I felt I had always fought my illness so hard that I was not prepared to give in so easily. Slowly the drugs began to work, and the infection passed. But the surgeons had to perform a tracheotomy to allow me to breathe, which made a small incision in my windpipe and connected me to a ventilator via the hole in my throat. As a result, I was now robbed of the ability to talk. I faced a life unable to properly communicate. All hopes of finishing my book, and perhaps even my career, seemed to be over. I had enough movement in my right hand to be able to click the computer system and write the words I wanted. Finally, I was free to communicate again. I was keen to make up the lost time that my illness had forced upon me. I had a stack of notes from Peter Gazzardi, suggesting changes and clarifications to my book. But I needed practical help with the rewrite at my end, someone who could act as a go-between.
Keeping the graphic as simple as we can.
After months of work, the rewrite was complete. None of us really knew whether the book would be liked, and would sell as we all hoped for. All we could do now was give it a title, A Brief History of Time, send it off to the printers, and wait. But to everyone's surprise, the book sold copy after copy. And very quickly bookshops were selling out.
When it hit the bestseller list, you're obviously surprised. It was a pleasant surprise, and it certainly was a surprise. I don't think you'll find anybody, maybe I'm wrong, who'll say, oh yes, we knew all along this was going to be a major hit.
I had no expectation that it would be the #1 best-selling book in the world. I mean, not just here, but Germany, Slovenia, France, Italy, everywhere in the world, there was the hope that someone had found the mystery of life.
And from then on, it was just a race to keep the book in print and kind of marching towards 1 million copies sold.
It was very gratifying. In the 38 years that I've been in this business, I don't think I've ever had a book that stayed at the top of the bestseller list that long.
Well, I was amazed to how well it did. I think it worked. He inspired people. He gave people some overall sense of the birth of the universe. And it made this subject become a subject of conversation among people in all walks of life.
Professor Stephen Hawking's book, A Brief History of Time, an unlikely but successful publishing phenomenon.
A Brief History of Time has sold about 8 million copies.
A popular book about his theories is already topping the American bestsellers list.
The hugely successful A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking.
A Brief History of Time stayed in the bestseller list for over 4 years, and entered into the Guinness Book of Records for doing so. To date, over 10 million copies have been sold worldwide. Over the next few years, a lot of fuss was made about my book. I became famous nationally and around the world, as it was translated into 40 different languages. Ever since the dawn of civilization, people have craved for an understanding of the underlying order of the world. There ought to be something very special about the boundary conditions of the universe. And what can be more special than that there is no boundary? And there should be no boundary to human endeavor. The Paralympic Games are all about transforming our perception of the world. We are all different. There is no such thing as a standard or run-of-the-mill human being, but we share the same human spirit. However difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. Falling in love and getting engaged was the motivation that I needed. If I were to get married, I had to get a job, and to get a job I had to finish my PhD. I therefore started working hard for the first time in my life. To my surprise, I found I liked it. Perhaps because I realized I might not have much time, I renewed my efforts to tackle the big question in cosmology in the early 60s. Did the universe have a beginning or not? Although I'm 71 now, I still go to work every day at Cambridge University.
I'll see you in a bit. Enjoy shopping.
Keeping an active mind has been vital to my survival, as has been maintaining a sense of humor.
You clearly have a very good sense of humour. Many will remember your appearance in The Simpsons.
Stephen Hawking, the world's smartest man.
I am probably better known for my appearances on The Simpsons and The Big Bang Theory than I am for my scientific discoveries. I've made a cameo appearance on Star Trek, my favorite sci-fi show.
You are bluffing.
Wrong again, Albert. I find humor, and a few jokes, are a great help in a lecture on the mysteries of the universe. If one is disabled, one should concentrate on the things one can do, and not regret the things one can't do.
Given how hard it is for you to communicate, you mentioned in the film how sometimes when people are chatting, your thoughts drift off into things like how the universe began. Do you think in some ways your disability has made you a better scientist?
I must admit, I do tend to drift off to thinking about physics or black holes when I get left behind in the conversation. In fact, my disability has been a help in a way. It has freed me from teaching or sitting on boring committees, and given me more time to think and do research. Theoretical physics is one of the few fields in which being disabled is no handicap. It's all in the mind. I have lived over 2/3 of my life with the threat of death hanging over me. Because every new day could be my last, I have developed a desire to make the most of each and every minute. Having lived on this wonderful planet for over 71 years, I feel my proudest achievement has been to inspire people to think about the cosmos and our place in it. Since I believe there is no afterlife, I think it's important to realize we only have a very short time alive and should make the best of it.